Yeah, this is Money B from Digital Underground, and I want to make sure everybody checks out my artist, Lil Mikey TMB, and his new mixtape, Eastside Nino, hosted by DJ Scream. Features the likes of 21 Savage, Trouble, Nepta Pharaoh, Mr. Fab, Filthy Rich. The mixtape is dope. Go download it now for free. MyMixtapes.com. Eastside Nino, East Oakland's finest. Download it for free. Right there.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
A lot of people don't know this. You're in it. I guess my question for you is, how were you approached to do it?
L.T. Hutton, who's one of the executive producers of the movie, but I've known him from the music world, production and everything. He had been working on this movie for a while. I think he kind of approached me. I think I asked him who's playing me or who's playing Digital Underground, and he was like, man, I see you playing it. And I thought he was, not playing around, but, I know I'm not like an accomplished actor. Kind of went through this before with Juice, auditioning for a movie. And he's like, nah. He's like, you're going to play you. And I actually did have to go to an audition, which I did terrible in the audition. And he was like, don't worry about it,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you had to audition for the role of yourself?
Yeah. I guess the casting agency just wanted to see me. And it was kind of weird because I auditioned for myself, but reading Shock G lines. They didn't even have Money B lines for me to read. So I was like, I'm really not getting it. Because it was just a little awkward. But I think, one of the things that I did do, once I realized I was, in my mind, tanking in the audition, I was like, rather than try to read lines and act out a role, I said, let me just tell you a story about Pac as myself. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just talking like me, I'm really comfortable, and can't nobody be me better than me. So I just told a Pac story. I forget which one I told. If it wasn't already a foregone conclusion because LT wanted me to do it, then I would like to think that me doing that and improvising helped it in a way.
Now, you brought up Shock. Do they have someone representing Shock G in it, or is Shock G himself in that?
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Money Being Young Hump, the new edition, Young Hump, and actually it's going to be the new offering from the Digital Underground family is the Money Being Young Hump album. And Chris Clay, who plays Young Hump, actually plays the role of Shock G and Humpty in the movie. Ironically, that we're touring and doing the Digital Underground set and had started working on an album, and then we both auditioned for the movie, and we both are playing the role of Digital Underground. But it was almost like it was, I ain't gonna say preordained, but Shock actually mentored Chris Clark, who plays Young Hump, to play Shock in the movie. Shock wanted Chris to get the role, and he kind of mentored him, and took him on as sort of a protege and helped him prepare to audition. It's kind of dope, and I got it, so we're actually Digital Underground in the movie, and we're both actually in Digital Underground, which is dope.
I know you can't speak for the man, but I know he's a very private person. Did Shock just not want to be in the movie, or Shock just wanted wanted Young Hump to do it?
I don't know. I don't know if he didn't want to be in the movie, but I will say this. I think that Shock is probably preferred to kind of play the back on that and not do it. But then I will also say too that remember that this movie is a period piece, so it's about his life. So the Digital Underground scenes are Digital Underground in 1991 and 90 and 91, and 1989 or 1988 when we first met Pop. So to play that role, you have to play a early 20-year-old Digital Underground or Money B or Shock G. And, I'm just fortunate enough that I kind of look similar to the way I looked back, in the early 90s and late 80s. But everybody doesn't. You understand what I'm saying? They weren't going to get H. Gregory today to play a 30-year-old H. Gregory. I don't know how old he was, but, he doesn't look the same. So it's just rare that some of us kind of look kind of the same, and with makeup can actually get away with it. So, I was just fortunate. I think myself and Edie, plays himself in the movie, and Noble, But, I think they, Tretch is an actor. He's still around, but Tretch doesn't look the same as he looked when he was, 19 years old or however old he was at the time.
Now, is Tretch represented in the movie?
Yeah, he is. Now, I've seen a screener. The screener that I seen when I saw it was like last summer or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's been edited a million times since the last time I saw it. So I don't know what scenes actually made it, but we did shoot scenes with the Tretch character in them.
I do have to ask you because all the fans really want to know. Now, going with what you said, that there are editing processes and there's been some delays and different distributors changing hands on the thing. The screener that you saw, was there music in it? Was there Tupac music in it?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, now, seeing the finished product, how much of it are you in? How much does it deal with the Digital Underground thing?
Pac did so much in his life. Obviously, you couldn't focus too long on any particular time period, I don't think, and get everything. So, we shot a fair amount of scenes, and like I said, I've seen a screener. The screener that I saw, I think I saw 2 screeners. I saw it twice, and each time I saw it, I may even have seen it 3 times. But each time I saw it, it was different. It was a different edit of it. It was a different cut. So it's hard for me to know what they're going to keep and what they're not going to keep. It could be 1 scene. It could be 5. That's why, even though I've seen a screener, I'm excited to see the movie when it comes out because I want to go and experience the finished product, with everyone else.
I do have to ask you, how was working with Demetrius Shipp?
He's dope. He was a dope actor. Obviously, and as someone who knew Pop and was real close and knew his mannerisms and the things that Pop, the way he acted, moved, talked, and everything, you could tell that Demetrius really studied and did his homework and took the role seriously, and I think he nailed it. Not only, did he do his homework, but he was just a student, meaning that anytime someone, say myself or Edie or anybody that was on set that knew Pop and would say, nah, Pop wouldn't do it that way, or, try it this way, or maybe do a little more like this. This is what Pop I really did it. He would kind of look at you and then he'd apply it and he'd get it. So I was really proud of him and happy that he was chosen to play that role because he did it. And I'll give you an example. There was a scene we shot, and we were in the studio, and then, while I think we were in the scene, we were like jamming to some music or something like that, and he was dancing, and then I was like, Demetrius, what we call him Meech. I was like, Meech, in the 90s, we didn't dance like that. This is how we used to dance. You remember the dance in the 90s when everybody used to kind of like, that early 90s kind of like back and forth and you put your hands up and down and you do that shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the shoulder hand wave kind of thing.
Yeah, that thing. And I kind of showed him. He's like, what? And he's looking at me. And right as I showed him, we had to break for lunch. And so we had maybe an hour, or it was either a break. I know it was like over an hour break. And when we went back to the scene, and without me even telling him, he applied what I told him the very next time we shot that scene. And mind you, I just told him once in passing, and then we broke, and then an hour later, he was right on top of it. So I was pleased with his work, and I'm happy for him. I think, one of the things, and one thing that I told him is that no matter how well he plays the role, there are some people that love Pac so much that nobody's good enough to play Tupac. And I get it. I understand it. They feel like nobody should touch it. They're going to find a flaw. They're going to find something to say because, Pac is everything, and nobody can do it. Like, nobody should play Jesus. Nobody should play Pac, right? But as someone who knew Pac and who was a friend, I'm telling you, he did a really good job, and I'm happy, and I was very pleased with what I saw him do while I was on set.
I think that's one of the most important things to fans.
Yeah, and that's really it. Myself, like I said, Edie, Noble, we were really wanting to be, the parts that we were involved, as we talked about it, just really trying to make sure that we make sure the integrity was upheld, and as did LT and Benny Boone, because they come from the same era. So they made sure that Pac's integrity was held throughout. They wasn't gonna let anyone make him look like a clown. And so, myself, with people like LT, Benny Boone who directed it, and Eddie from the Outlaws, while Tiny came on set. So people that were involved in Pac's life in those time periods throughout were on set, and kind of, I think everybody had the same mindset as watching it and saying and going like, yeah, Pac would be proud of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and that kind of jives with what I was going to ask you, if you think that, and once again, I'm asking you to speculate here, but do you think that this would get Pac's stamp of approval? Do you think he'd be happy with this?
I think he'd be happy with Nietzsche's portrayal of him. I think that he would be happy that someone's making a movie about his life. As with every movie that you ever gonna see, no movie is 100% factual. If two people are having a private conversation and neither one of them are around, you don't really know what happened in that private conversation. You kind of speculate, and in general, what happened. Or sometimes you can take an event that you know happened, but you can dress it up for the sake of making a good movie. So I think that's the integrity of the basic premise of what happened pretty much did. Like I've seen stuff in movies. I'm like, that probably didn't happen like that. Or I know that didn't happen like that. But the same thing was Straight Outta Compton. I've been around NWA and people that were, around throughout. Obviously, H. and Gregory used to well manage, and Laylaw is one of my best friends. And so I used to be around Easy and all of them. So I know events that happened in that movie, and I'm watching. I'm going, that didn't really happen like that. But that didn't take away from it being a great movie and catching the essence of what their story was about. And I believe the same thing is true for All Eyez on Me.
Now, you had recently made a statement that it's better than Straight Outta Compton. It's pretty bold. I guess the question is, in what aspects?
You know what? If you heard that statement, I probably said that it's going to be bigger. And if I said it's better, the statement that I made was a friend of mine, my guy Chad Coincidence, who's co-authoring my book. I got a book coming out called Hype Man about my life and everything. But I took him to see a screener with me, and me being so close to the situation, I wasn't sure. I didn't know I liked it, but I was like, am I just being biased because this is my friend or what? And I asked Chad, who didn't know Pac, he's never been around. He was my friend. you know, white guy from Portland. And he was like, man, that was better than Straight Outta Compton. And I said, really? I was like, well, there you have it. Now, is it going to be bigger than Straight Outta Compton? I absolutely believe it'll be bigger than Straight Outta Compton, just because Tupac is a bigger, he's a global icon, you know, and NWA, as big as they were here in the U.S. and maybe Europe or whatever, their reach and impact on the world was nowhere near Tupac's reach and impact. And I love NWA to death, you know, but that's just the honest to God truth. Tupac, I think he's like the well, his image is the most, first or second most duplicated or something. Pretty sure you probably know the stats better than I do. But
It's funny that you say that because I saw some graffiti in a part of Africa that has no power, it has no electricity, no running water, and it has no internet connection. And there's Tupac lyrics and graffiti that's being spray painted in sections of the world that doesn't even have the technology that we do. So the point that you're making, I absolutely understand.
yeah, and I think in the interview is the one that you listen to. I mentioned that, you know, there are tribes in Africa called the Tupac tribe or clans or whatever you want to call it, after Tupac Shakur, not after any other Tupac, after that one. So he's revered globally as much as any musician. You know, he's there with Bob Marley. I love Ice Cube and Easy to death, but they're not globally recognized like Bob Marley or Tupac.
I think that their wardrobe that they replicated is on point. Is there anything else in that movie that you saw and you're like, they nailed that?
Oh, yeah. Duplicating the actual locations. You know, obviously, Digital Underground, we recorded in Starlight Studios in Richmond. That's where we recorded Sex Packets, you know, a lot of Sons of the P. This is an EP release. Tupacalypse Now, you know, Pac's first album, the first Raw Fusion album, the Gold Money album. It's also the studio where En Vogue recorded their first album. 415 and Richie Rich recorded their first music there. Tony recorded their Confunction. This is the studio in the East Bay. And, I mean, they damn near replicated the studio. I went in and I was like, wow, this looks just like Starlight Studio. And then when I watched the screener, you know, they have, you know, obviously Tupac lived in the jungle in Marin City. And when I'm watching the movie, I was like, where did you guys find a place that looks just like the jungle? Because you've had to have those apartments looking like that in that movie, you've had to have gone to the jungle and seen what it looked like. And they did. And that was dope. So they really nailed the set design and recreating the locations. They had that shit down. I was impressed by that, you know. And then the clothing, you know, when they were dressing me, you know, they had all kind of old pictures of, you know, me and Pac together on the wall and looking at the clothing, and you know, and I actually bought some of my personal pictures and were like, can you, you know, I used to wear this hat, and they actually had somebody on set that, you know, like they had a fisherman hat, and I was like, nah, I really wasn't like that, and I showed them a picture, and within 20 minutes they had reconstructed the hat to look just like how I was in the picture and how I told them that I used to wear my hat. So, like, they didn't play around with it, man. And even when, if it was because I know, remember the controversy behind Straight Outta Compton with Easy wearing a white top hat that wasn't out or whatever. If it was any team logo or anything that was like, was it, you know, they doubled and tripled and checked to make sure that it was out that year before they even allowed it to be shot. So they were on top of that.
People will kill me if I don't ask. Is there any tidbits that you can tell us that are going to surprise us that's going to be in the movie? Is there any little thing that you can give us hints that are going to surprise the fans?
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't want to tell you because I want you to be surprised. why would I? Why would I give up the surprise? You don't even want me to do that because you were like, "Money, we spoiled it."
Any cameos?
Are there any cameos? I mean, there's some people that pop up for sure. You know, I'm not gonna give away the movie, man.
I know
so
that.
You, might as well.
You can't knock me for trying, though. You can't knock me for trying.
Nah. I wouldn't expect you not to. But you gotta go see it. It's a great movie.
Absolutely, and it drops June 16th. And what, now, the screening that you did, I seen Lil Bow Wow there, I seen Busta there. Did everybody walk out of there liking that movie?
Oh, man. You should have seen Busta Rhymes. He was in tears. He was swearing by it. You know, Big Boy, when he saw it, he was swearing by it. Man, I'm telling you, it's a good movie. I can't front. You know, and anybody that comes out of it and says that it's not, either didn't know Pac, or they're salty about it for their own reason. Meaning it's not because it didn't portray them in the, you know, the way that it, for the most part, happened. Like, they didn't add anything. And my understanding is that the movie, you know, is kind of built around, you know, the interview that Pac did and what he actually said happened in his life and how he recalled it. So it's not one person's opinion saying this is what happened. It's kind of like interviewing everybody in his life that they could, and then taking what Pac said, I forget which interview it was, maybe the one that he did when he was locked up, and then kind of piecing it together.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
What up, shut up?